All right. Good morning, Satnam. Welcome. We're doing a free live Q&A just for spiritual development. No psychic readings, please. um, Anything that you are going through. I know today and this week in particular, with all of the energies moving about through the Lionsgate portal, it's like a lifting of energies between veils so that you can completely see yourself and feel yourself and really connect to yourself in ways that are unlike what you normally experience. When you feel all the veils kind of like holding you in the third dimension. You don't feel that during the Lionsgate energies. The veil is completely lifted. So that, while it seems to be good, it can have a little bit of an effect of being able to focus on what you really need to clear. That's this year's theme for Lionsgate is like how to clear that. So I wanted to talk to you about that and any particular spiritual development things that you have questions about, any blocks that you're experiencing, would be good to talk about during these times. We're going through so many transitions. It's so beautiful, somewhat tedious for some of you as you're stripping away layers of stuff that no longer need to be there. So it's a giant clearing, if you will. So I find it to be really wonderful, this Lionsgate. So, oh yeah, and because of that, I am teaching a class about it's called the Foundations of Elemental Dragon Connection. So what I mean by that is you can't connect with dragons and the energy of dragons and understand what they are without understanding how you are, what element you personally connect to. So that's what I'm teaching tomorrow at 1 p.m. on my Patreon channel. If someone knows me and doesn't mind linking that up in the chat, that would be awesome. But it's just patreon.com/my name. That's going to be fun. 1 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow. And we're going to be working individually with people to find out about what element you primarily operate through so that you can know how to talk to your dragon, talk to that essence of the dragons. Everybody's got a type of dragon that they talk to. And if you really connect deeply enough, you'll be able to glean more information. All right. So let me scroll up and get through the first questions. I haven't actually been given professional permission to channel Eric without being on the Channeling Eric show. So I have no idea if I'm allowed to do that or not. So I won't be doing that today because I don't want to be seen as taking anything from Channeling Eric when right now I'm currently on a break so that I can write my book. So as much as I'd like to help you with Eric, I don't have permission for that today. So unless Elisa pops in and says, yeah, go for it, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Let's see, scrolling through questions. Oh no, Carolyn, I'm really sorry to hear about that. It's hard. Breakups are hard. They really make you think about what you want versus what you're not getting and your needs. And it makes you learn to give yourself, like to provide those needs, to meet those needs, for yourself. It's a hard thing. How to use the element to help our spiritual development? What do you mean by the element? Do you mean the elements? I'm assuming that's a typo. Well, join me in class tomorrow, but primarily understand which emotions go with which element. Like, what would you think fire means? You're passionate, you're fiery. It's pretty clear. What do you think a water element means? What kind of emotions would go with water for you? If you feel connected to the element of water, that'll tell you that you probably have a dragon that's a water elemental dragon. So if you're more fiery, passionate, you seem to be more full of anger, fire dragons can help you get that out, powerfully. So that's how it helps. But in terms of how to use it, I'm going into that more specifically tomorrow. So I'm going to save it for that class tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Patreon. How do you know if you can channel? Well, let me make that clear for you, Adam. Everybody is channeling. And what even is that word? Hey, Teresa, thanks for joining. I appreciate you so much. What even is that word? People assume that channeling means that there must be something here and something other than, and you basically are talking to that other than. That actually is mediumship. Channeling is when you recognize that you are in the other, the alleged other being. Therefore, you use the elements to merge that essence and your essence, because after all, you are one. When you recognize that, you are channeling. So just understanding the definition of channeling versus mediumship. Mediumship is talking to another being. You're assuming there is another, so you're talking to them, you as an essence and within your essence, and them within their essence or personality. People call that different things. And the two unique essences are playing like they are different and playing along with the duality game. And you're talking to each other, pretending to be separate. That's what mediumship is. When you're not awake, you think everything is separate. When you are, channeling has a whole new meaning. So everyone is channeling. Writers are channeling some aspect of themselves. Musicians, same thing. That talent's coming from somewhere, and those songs are coming from somewhere. If you guys have listened to my Sacred Songs of the Heart album, which is album number 2, you can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Spotify, Pandora, iTunes if you want to download it, or Amazon if you want to get a CD. I was channeling the entire time. I would just feel all this music and hear it, and just no practice. Literally, I would just sit down, and in 5 minutes, a song would come out. And that's channeling. When you just, and if you let your head get in the way, no matter what you're channeling, whether you're channeling music, whether you're channeling a book, I am really bad at this, by the way. My ego is pretty active. That concept of you can't be realized with an active ego is so inaccurate for this entire 20th century, because almost every realized being that I know on this planet has an ego. So my ego in particular is very creative and very active, and it works with me very strongly, but it can also get in my way as a writer. I'm writing a book right now, almost done, so excited. It's called The Great Spiritual Awakening, A Course in Forgiveness. So, and it literally is a course. It's a sacred text channeled by Yeshua, Mary, Hillel, and Lilith. So when I'm writing and I'm channeling them in this space, oh my gosh, no one can stop me. I'm just really in touch with myself. And when ego kind of gets in the way, it's like, you probably should go do this right now. And you should probably go do that, whatever. And then I go do it, and then I get off track. I can't carry that energy with me. It's really hard. And then the ego kind of gets in the way. It's like, oh, feel guilty. You're not writing it fast enough. Holy cow, it's been 16 years. Literally, that's how long it's been to get out a sacred text. It's not any regular type of book. It is a sacred text. So as a channel, when I go into that space, when I stop, the ego likes to get in the way. And that's when you pay attention to that and stop that, when you can stop the ego from getting in the way, when you're channeling, no matter what it is you're channeling, a book, an album, channeling a sacred anything. What you're really doing is connecting to the aspect of you that is sacred. You're doing what I call embodying the sacred. You are activating an energy within you that I like to call grace. Grace is a very still energy that is also in motion whenever you get your hands on it and you start to work with it. So you can tell when someone's channeling because they are in a state, and people call it an altered state. I'm just going to call it grace. No one knows what that is. Therefore, they call it altered states. They're not acting in ways you understand. So if suddenly something comes out of your mouth, you say something, you feel something that you haven't felt before, it's probably grace. It's very graceful. And grace, by standard definition, really isn't what you think it is. So I could talk about that forever, guys. Let me scroll through more questions. So there's many ways to know you're channeling, But when you pay attention to when you stop channeling, that's going to help you get in touch with the aspect of you that wants to channel more. When will the sticker for donating be available in Puerto Rico? I don't know what you mean. I don't typically do all the technological things that a lot of you YouTubers do. So I'm not sure if you're asking me to do something within my channel, or if this is if you're asking a psychic question, which I'm hoping not to get very many psychic questions for this Q&A. This is more spiritual development. You want a psychic question? I do that at PamelaAaralyn.com every day. You can book. Does my twin flame or spirit guide have messages? Ask them. Ask them. Jen Ward and I are going to be doing a class. I don't have the details for it yet, but you'll be able to book it on my website. And we're going to be doing a detailed class about how to connect with yourself. And the class is called Be Your Own Spirit Guide. You can connect to any spirit guide when you recognize an aspect of you that is in that spirit guide. And we have particular techniques where you merge with until you understand that they are you and you are them. When you do that, you're going to be able to get those messages on your own. Well, I'm happy that you're watching live, Angela. She said happy to catch you live. Oh, geez, I'm losing track. The screen jumped. Hold on. What element am I? Ether. That's my primary element. My dragon is an etheric dragon, works primarily in the astral realm. I'm scrolling. There's so many questions. Give me a second. It jumped for some reason. From Cloud Ma'am. What a cool name. I'm feeling a bit blocked and would love to hear from my guide, Jeremiah. You really need to show up in my class with Jen. I'm telling you, it's going to be so good. I don't really want to do psychic readings today, so I will repeat that as many times as I have to. What I really want to talk about is your spiritual development. So when you connect to a spiritual guide, you're saying that this one was on Earth with you. So when that happens, what you can do is connect to the memory modules. Memory is energy that is held in the form of memory. Here's a little tip. Drink more water, but before you do, program the water. For those of you here today who are a fan of Candace Goldman's lovely Beyond Quantum Healing process, it is amazing. She does this thing called water programming. She and I do it together, and each of us use it in our processes. And she talks about how to program water. So I'm going to tell you, put your hand over the glass of water. I know this sounds silly, but water has over 450 memory packets in each particle. Poosh, my head right now, right? Yours too, right? It's crazy. So if you can take all the emotions, go into a memory, a really good one. So you say that Jeremiah was here. Do you remember those times? Because if you can ask your higher self to connect you to a memory, and this is how you do this, just focus on Jeremiah right now with me if you're still here. Or you guys can do this with me if you have any guide, okay? Focus on your guide, even if you don't know their name. Just assume a guide is there, right? Maybe you can do this with your higher self, but it's better with guides. So envision Jeremiah or whoever your guide's name or angel in front of you and say this with me. This is an invocation that I teach a lot in my alchemy classes. Say this and focus on them. I am you. You are me. We are one eternally. I open my eyes, and as you, I see. And now focus your energy here. And now imagine them walking closer. Imagine that your vision is their vision, and their vision is your vision. There's a connection now. I want you to start thinking about a memory that you had with them, and I want you to see it, okay? See what comes. Your brain might go fast. If your brain goes fast, take your finger right here, breathe in, hold it, and now put your hand here and say stop, right on your third eye. That vision is going to freeze. It's an amazing little trick that I use. Okay? Now that's a memory from your guide, whatever that is, even if it was something that you think isn't, go with it. Remember, because you're one, go with it. So let's continue in the invocation. I am you, you are me, we are one eternally. I open my ears, and as you, I listen. Now I want you to feel if there's any sounds going on right now. Sounds aren't external. Sounds could be thought downloads that just plop into your mind. Could be any little thing that you think about. That is a sound. Words that come into your mind are sounds. You don't have to hear a voice. You don't have to hear your guide speak in order to activate clairaudience to connect with your guide. Now let's continue. I am you, you are me, we are one eternally. I open my heart, and as you, I feel. Now I want you to imagine your guide walking closer, 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 right in front of you. And now feel the emotions that are coming up. Now let's complete the invocation. I am you, you are me, we are one eternally. I open my mind, and as you, I know. Now is when the majority of people will start to get something happening. A thought download, a daydream, a little vision of just something that quickly goes into your head. If it goes too fast, take your finger in front of you, breathe in, hold your breath, put your hand right here and say stop, right with your finger. And now exhale. And all the visions, thoughts, thought downloads, feelings, everything will slow down then. You can do this over and over and over again. This is a connection technique, a oneness connection technique. So I'll be sharing a lot of these techniques, and Jen Ward's going to be sharing a lot of her techniques in our class that's coming up on September the 12th. So you'll get a lot more of this then. So keep an eye on my website. That's going to be up, to sign up for it this week if you want to register for it. Okay. These are some of the techniques, just some of the few that we're going to be working with you in class on. All right. Oh, next question from Drizzle 3000. That's a cool name. What about the I am? What about it? I just gave you an invocation. I have thousands of I am invocations. Thousands. How can we tell what element we are? I think I already answered that. I'm having a difficult time manifesting the things I want. Oh boy, Shanna, I can talk about this one a long time. I have a class that's recorded. It's not going to be live, but I recorded it. I did it a couple years ago called Empowered Abundance that teaches this if you guys want it. But just to help you understand about manifesting what you want, you need to be clear on what you feel about what you want and why you want it. For example, in the law of attraction, do you guys remember the book The Secret when it first came out? It's kind of the beginning stages of what you guys thought would be the law of attraction, and people were putting up vision boards and putting Lamborghinis on them and stuff, and then they were wondering why it wasn't happening, right? Anybody with me? Can I get a hello on that? We all did it. We're all like, this stuff's not working. So you're not alone. So let me give you a little tip about that. In order for you to get there, you got to understand how you feel, right? And if you've got to understand like how to get through other universal laws to get to that feeling. So you can't just say, you know what? I want this job. This is what I'm trying to manifest, or this title, this role in this job in this company. You got to know why, and you got to know how you would feel. So you would begin to visualize having that job, what you're doing when you get up in the morning. So you get up, brush your teeth, and eat your breakfast, do your yoga, do your source tones. I'm hoping some of you are still doing them. You're doing your TM practice, whatever it is you're doing your Sadhguru Isha Yoga. So many of you love him too. Whatever you're doing, right? And then you're getting in your car, you're getting in the train. I want you to visualize all that. Whatever the case is, with how, because it's got to be believable. I'm about to tell you how you're going to do that. The reason why you need to do that step by step is you need to understand what your days are going to look like, which is even super hard right now. It's super hard right now. You don't know what your days are going to look like. Get on the train with your mask. I don't know what it looks like, but make it look like something and get very specific. Okay. Get very specific about it and imagine yourself enjoying it. How are you feeling when you're getting ready for work? Or say you work at home. How are you feeling when you're doing that? And what's the best part about that feeling? You got to get into it in order to manifest. That's the universal law of specificity. So you have to work within the universal law of specificity, which is one of the subdominant laws of the universal law of reflection. So what does that look like, say, between you and that job? You haven't even interviewed yet, so you don't really believe that that's going to happen, especially in today's society. You don't know how. So what would the next most believable step look like? You need to be thinking about that. What's the next most believable step? Manifesting an interview. Who are you with? What do they look like? What's their personality? How's the interview going? How's the interview going? How do you feel like? What's all that? You need to get very specific. And then the other thing that you can do is called the, I haven't done this technique in a while. The letter, the universal letter. So you need to write this process is called the letter to the universe. You need to write it out, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, it makes you bullet point your manifestations. I want you to think of at least 5 things that you're ready to have in your life right now, but narrow it down. If this is about creativity and abundance in money and job and career, you need to make it just about that. If this is about a relationship, make it just about that. If this is about you're trying to get pregnant, make it just about that. So this process looks like this. Get out a white sheet of paper and write, Dear Universe. And write 5 simple things. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. That KISS rule, keep it simple, silly. I don't like the word stupid. We're not stupid. So keep it simple, okay? And write 5 things. Just 5 things, people, just 5 things. Believe me, I'm a master at doing the letter to the universe the wrong way. What I mean by the wrong way is that I just learn from my mistakes. I wrote the letter of the universe, and the very first one I did, it was 3 pages, and it was 150 things, and I got all 150 things. And then, you know what I'm about to say. What was I doing? I was shaking my fist at God, going, why? So careful what you wish for is the best way. So, and you need to write these 5 things in a way that you're thanking the universe for them being in existence. And you're going to be looking at these 5 bullet points as often as possible, and you're going to be visualizing that, feeling what it feels like to have each of those 5 things. You're going to be getting really real with those 5 things. So this is a 30-day process, and every day you're going to be looking at those 5 things. Okay? So that's the 30-day process. All right? And then once you do that, so let me tell you what that, before I move on, let me tell you what those 5 things might look like when you write them out practically. It looks like, thank you, universe, for blank. That's it. And write it down as if it's already here. And it better be believable. It better be believable, because if it's not, you're not ready karmically. So it has to be something believable, all right? So start with something you believe you can get. Like you really must believe it in order for this to work. Thank you, universe, for blank. That'll be 1 bullet point, and you're going to put 5 of them. And then at the end, you're going to write this or something better, right? The reason why you write that is because your ego's writing this letter, but your higher self knows what's better, and it will instinctively replace that would be in your highest and best, okay? This or something better, and then sign your full name and date it, all right? Date it, because you're going to want to know how long you've been doing this. Do this every day for 30 days. Look at all of those 5 bullet points and visualize and feel them out. What does it feel like? What visions are coming to you, okay? And then you're going to fold it up, and you're going to do this So this is kind of the witchy part of it. You're going to fold it in the form of Druidic binding. My ancestors taught me a lot. So you're going to make a shape out of it. I prefer the triangle because it is one of the original shapes on this planet. The first sacred shape looked somewhat like a triangle. It's actually looked more like an A without the thing in the middle. So you're going to get this as small as possible. I'm pretty good at this. I put it to square first and then make paper airplanes, guys. Not really. And then I create a triangle. I even like to make them look like pyramids. That's how good at this I've gotten. So then you will take a natural cloth, like a piece of tweed or yarn, and you're going to run it this way. I don't think I have anything like that right now to show you, but you're going to run it this way. You're going to turn it, and then you're going to run it this way. You're going to turn it. You're going to run it this way. You're going to turn it. You're going to run it this way, and keep going until it completely covers, and then tie it up tightly like this. You're going to put it in a dark space, and the next time you have a new moon, you're going to take it out, do the same thing again. You're going to do this process until you manifest what's inside of this. So keep it in a dark space underneath your mattress. It's one of my favorite places. In a box, in a dark box, in a jewelry box, things like that. Okay? It is such a cool process. Yeah, I've taught it so many times. So that's an interesting binding. It's a Druidic thing. You like that process? Cool. From Mr. Awesome. That's such a cool moniker. I know karma is not punitive, but are actions like murdering people still a part of the accumulated memory that we need to work through? Yes and no. That is a complicated and powerful question because it is almost next to impossible for your ego to not want to consider that things need punishment, that there's a cause and effect, and the cause is good and the effect would be bad. And if the cause is bad, the effect should be good. So as long as there is a societally conditioned program, which is in your minds, we're programmed with that on the opposite side of goodness is badness. That's only true in creative environments. So it's not really something we work through for a particular reason of clearing it out because it's bad. As long as we have dualistic creative environments, there will be murdering, there will be darkness, there will be these things. You know, as long as this type of environment is created within, in this particular type of environment. So working through it is an interesting, that's just an interesting way to put it. Like, what do you mean by that? I need more information. I'm asking if the Pleiadian energy is really beautiful. I feel resonant with their energy. Yes, but I'm here to tell you that when the Pleiadians were in their duality games, they did just as much murdering and raping and looting and horrible things, genocides. They've been there, done that. So when you think about another galactic race, please understand that they have gone through, with the exception of angels. I talked to the two angels that actually did go through duality. I talked to Lilith and Halal because they understand us. With the exception of those two angels, all the other angels didn't go through duality games. But all extraterrestrial beings went through duality games. Every single race, which means there's a shadow side. So it would be easy to just think about, oh, you know, I'm Pleiadian, I resonate with that, and I am only compassionate. Really? Really? We're in a duality game, so there's something that might not be about you, even if you do come from Pleiadians, right? It's just they have gone through their games as well. Was Sirius ever attacked? Yes, by their own. There have been many attacks by almost every galactic environment that you could possibly consider. So I am a galactic historian. I've got a lot of information about that, but I want you to really think about what that is as well. The biggest attack on Sirius B was by the Sirius A constellation. Sirius B were incredibly sentient, shamanic, loving beings, but they were kind of in this duality place. So they were easy targets because they were vulnerable, empathic beings. Sirius A wanted to take those lands. So they wanted to take that entire constellation full of knowledge. So they did. It was terrible. Yeah. But it happened on Earth too. They weren't the only ones. But let me tell you the other side of history. Have you noticed when you look at galactic history that almost every galactic historian has some sort of a different version of what happened? Yeah. Thank the amazingly complicated construct of time itself for that outcome. Thank you, time, very much. Because we're in time and because we're multidimensional beings spreading ourselves out through time, we get to live through a different version of history, both galactically and on Earth, than anyone else, than any other version of us would be. So when you think that Jesus died on the cross, that is one version of history that's true for millions, if not billions of people in their stories. In my particular story of Yeshua, otherwise known as Jesus, I didn't see that. I didn't see that when I was with him in those timelines. I didn't see it. It wasn't in my history. And that's true too. So what Earth does that's different than any other star system, humans do this. Humans go, there is one truth and this is the only right way. And this is right, therefore everything else must be inaccurate and wrong. There is this incessant seeking for truth as being only one idea, concept, or historical relevance. And that's not true. There are trillions. Yeah. When ships and planes disappear in the Bermuda Triangle, are they in another dimension? Yes. Bingo. Sophia, I'm not doing readings today. This is more for spiritual development. I'm going to be teaching people how to be their own guide. Jen Ward and I are going to be doing a class on September the 12th at 2 p.m. Mountain Time on that. Stay tuned on that. I'll have it up on my website to sign up this week. But I'm not going to be doing readings today. It's off my pay scale for free, guys. Just not in my pay scale today. And you guys aren't even super chatting. I'm messing with you. Although gladly accepted with super chats. Why sometimes are we so resistant to do what we know would be good? Like quiet time and meditate and get in touch with our higher self. It's not you as an essence. It's not your spirit that's resistant. It's not your higher self that's resistant. It's your mind. You're resistant because of mind programs that you were born with. So check out my video called Judgment Detox about that with my guide Lilith, who is also me. I don't believe that any of my guides are separate from me. So that's not a, oh my God, I'm Lilith, look at me statement. I don't care about any of that. I prefer to be known as Pamela. But Lilith is an aspect of me, so she knows a lot about how to stop judging yourself. So it's judgments, and it's the technology of judgments. Either judgments or attachments are the two things that condition our mind to be resistant to quiet time meditation, breath work, and higher self work. So those judgments normally come in the concept and in the format of core beliefs. Aw, thank you. That was so sweet. I was totally just kind of playing with you, but not. I'll take it. Thank you for the super chats. So what was I saying about that? So again, it's not your spirit, it's your mind. It's your mind that judges and that stops you from that. And judgments and attachments stop it. So attachments typically come in things that we think we need, whether they be relationships or down to like food or alcohol or my most recent attachment is caffeine. Like I love caffeine. So I find that I'm much more clearer in teachings if I don't drink caffeine right before. And if I really want to like throw a bunch of teachings out really fast, I drink a bunch of caffeine. It's not good though. It blocks me from getting things done, like staying in connection for my book. So that's what I would need to work on. But judgments are bigger than attachments in most things. Judgments are the biggest block and the core beliefs that they come through. So check out the class that I put last year on YouTube called Judgment Detox by Lilith. And that will teach you how to understand what your mind is doing that blocks you. And then I have another class. I'm not sure if that one is on YouTube. It might be on Patreon. It's called The Grace That I Am. It's a class about grace. That'll help you learn to connect and just understand. Judgment Detox helps you get rid of conditions. Kombucha. What about kombucha? Is that your addiction? Is that your attachment? I think it could be worse, Adam. Yeah. It could be worse. At least it's not beer. I cannot drink kombucha. It just does something. It just does something. I don't know what it is. I think it's something. I can even drink wine before I can drink kombucha. Seriously. So it's not an alcohol thing. How can we navigate the very heavy energies a little better? I'm having a bad vision day, guys. Today's a blind technology day. I've even got it big on the screen with my magnifiers, and I'm like, oh, RP is bad sometimes. How can we navigate the very heavy energies a little better that are happening with the portal right now? Simplicity. You need to keep it simple. This is the most difficult Lionsgate portal, and beautiful and powerful, but the most difficult one that I've seen humanity go through in quite some time. So what you need to do is keep your body clean, eat well, drink plenty of water, maybe add some energizing plant medicine, not psychotropic kinds, but just standard roots and seeds and, liquid forms of plants. I love Gaia herbs. They're very pure and they make really good plant medicine. And lately I've combined ashwagandha with nettle leaf. So ashwagandha with nettle and not stinging nettle, but just nettle leaf. Ashwagandha with nettle and what's the other one I've been? Hawthorn. Yes. And another one. The other one is horsetail. All those together because you're peeling off things. This is very physiological. Do you guys feel that in your bodies? Ascension right now is very physiological. So this means you have to keep your bodies pure. I take a product called Ion Restore. It's by Zach Bush. You can get it at zachbush.com. I take it because I've noticed that the energy in our foods, in our vegetables and fruits, are not as pure. They have a lot of metals in our foods, and that's because there's a lot of metals and stripping of the soils. We've completely desecrated the genome, both in our bodies and in our soils and in the air. So we need to restore that, and we can start in our gut. So right now, pay attention to your body. Okay? Your body. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, thank you. That's kind. Yes, that's right. Wildflowers. I love that name. Small Wildflowers is her name. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. Because I have been trying to do more of these lately for you guys, but you'll miss it if you don't have the little notification bell on. I don't do enough of them to bug you, just enough to really serve you. Would you write about galactic history of our solar system? Yeah, if I can get through the sacred text, I'm telling you, I'm trying not to make this a whole lifelong project. So I've got this one, which is almost done. And then I've got A Course in Compassion and A Course in Grace. Those are the three things that want to be written about. Those are first because That's what's needed. Those courses help you break down every condition that has ever been known to man in any lifetime that would prevent ascension. They are ascension manuals, and they are incredible. They're the most incredible teachings that have ever come out of me. And I've been preparing for them for, like I said, 16 years now. So they have to come first. I could simply go write a galactic history book and sell out and probably be rich, but it's not what I need to do right now. Sorry, I've got other books to write, other sacred text. Genesis. So with that particular problem, if you are being attacked while you're asleep, what you can do is do a sacred ceremony before sleep for protection. So that's a part of what yogis call pratyahara that seals in your energy. Use the triangle, put salt all the way around your bed in a triangle shape. Okay. And center yourself fully within it. But you also got to look at your body. Your body has to be pure too, and your mind needs to be, purified. Your mind needs to be very grounded and clean and stable, because otherwise you're sitting duck for entities. So I can give many tips, but I created a form of yoga called Kripa Yoga, which is teachings of the 8 limbs of yoga. And I particularly love pratyahara. I'm a pratyahara yogi. So what that means, all these things that New Agers call grounding and cleansing and healing and protection, that's my mastery. Except we call it pratyahara. So what that means is to draw in or draw back energy that you either do need or don't need when you're drawing back. So on Patreon in tier 2, you can get, I think I have 17 pratyahara classes right now, full of kriyas and deeper spiritual lessons attached to them as well, that are really easy and practical to do and to get through, that will help you. And if you do them before bed, particularly the fear management kriyas that I recently did last month, it's incredible. I've never, like, people being attacked by entities, people going through so many things. That's what they use, that particular kriya, the fear management kriyas. I have like 3 different classes on that. It's all powerful protection processes. So what I did with yoga was I combined it with alchemy, because I am primarily a hermetic alchemist, and that's how I channel. Is through all the laws of the universe and the sacred tree of life. So I combined that with yoga, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. And I created a yoga practice called Kripa Yoga, which means yoga of grace. And it is an alchemical yoga practice that still exercises the 8 limbs of yoga, primarily pranayama and pratyahara. So you're going to love that. And that's what I suggest for you. How to block energy or frequency. Crystal, do those techniques. They're incredible. They are based upon alchemy invocations of protection. And you can also ask your dragons. We're going to be talking a little bit about that. The fire element, the elemental dragons of fire have a lot of things. And we're going to be talking about which elemental dragons have which unique exercises. So the fire dragons, they're good at protection. They're really good at that particular type of energy work. The water dragons are good at healing and cleansing and what in alchemy we call purification. So the ether dragons, goodness gracious, they're good at everything. Like, they're good at containing all of that. They're guardians, not protectors, but I'd say guardians of sacred energies. So you need to understand how elements work by, they are either catabolic or anabolic, which means they can break through energy in 2 different ways. And when you understand that in alchemy, you'll understand more about how to work with dragons. I know you guys are excited for that class tomorrow. And if you haven't signed up, you can do it anytime before 1 p.m. tomorrow on my Patreon channel. And I believe it's a tier 4. It's either tier 3 or tier 4. But so it's not something we can get at tier 1, because it's a powerful, long class. It takes a lot of energy to teach some of these classes. Can I physically heal myself through my spiritual self? Yeah. SFT, the Spiritual Freedom Technique, genuinehealing.com. That's a colleague of mine who I deeply respect, who also understands alchemy because of her past lifetime as Helene Blavatsky, Madame Blavatsky. She was my teacher in that time. So it's a beautiful story. I met her again in this lifetime, and we clashed right away, which is what we did in other lifetimes as well. And then I recognized who she was, and she recognized who I am, and we began to work together. So her name is Jen Ward, and you can find her at genuinehealing.com. Do the free process she has over there called the cleanse, the energetic cleanse. It's right there on her main website. And you can also, if you feel like you can't do it yourself, you can get a session with her. She's amazing. I've only done 2 sessions with her, and I've healed 2 specific conditions. And the retinitis pigmentosa has been getting a lot better. It's not, as you can see today, like I can't fully focus on the screen, so it's not fully healed, but it's almost there. Like it's getting so much better. Like I can drive, I can do interesting things. I have good days now since I've been doing that process. Yeah, genuinehealing.com. That's how you work on that, to where you work on the spiritual in a way that's quick and helps you with the physical or the mental. Also beyond quantum healing, that's another way that Candace Crawl Goldman has that process. My friend David Redburn does amazing parts work. If he's here today, maybe he'll type out his website. But there's so many people I could tell you that I love that can help you heal the spiritual things. All right. Carolyn, she said the best way to open the third eye is to not open it. Oh, preach. It's kind of one of these things. You open it, and then it's like this Pandora's box of stuff that just doesn't stop coming out. I was told I need to find a shaman and ask for protection, and I can't find one that I can afford. Yeah, I know, but Jen's a shaman, and you just do that energetic cleanse process. It was created by a shaman, and it's free. And if you think you need more work with her, she is affordable, and you can book a session with her. She is a shaman. Do I sage? I was laughing because I was thinking of the last time I saged was when my teenager, who is like coming upon like the early years of teenagery stuff, because he just turned, he's about to turn 14. And oh my gosh, his room, it smells like butt and socks. It's like the worst locker room smell that you could possibly fathom. So that's the last time I saged, was just today, running some sage through the teenager's room. Yeah. So I sage, but I don't, it's very interesting. Sage smells like marijuana, and it's just this smell that I can't quite get through. Not that I'm opposed to marijuana, but I don't like the stinky smell. It just doesn't come out of anything. So I'm not nuts about the smell of it. And if I am going to sage, I will use sweetgrass, not white sage or other types of sage, because sweetgrass smells better. Yeah. Or I'll use a resin with frankincense and myrrh. Or yeah, Carolyn, there's so many taps on Jen's website that help with these things. Do I feel there will be a rapture, and how do I prepare? No, not in our lifetime. I mean, depending upon how old you are. I'm 45, turned 45 in May. I have not seen anything like that. Yeshua hasn't said that there's going to be anything like that. What you should prepare for is things going on in your governments, okay? And you need to be prepared to connect to your local and state neighbors and people all around you, so that you can build your local and state governments, because there's things going on in the federal governments that are becoming more stringent and restrictive. Okay, that's what you need to prepare for, not the rapture. Yeah. Shamans are interesting. Someone said, keep the faith, the shaman will find you. Sometimes they do. Good shamans are really normally very reclusive and very much in hiding. I almost am.
Well, it's 4. It's probably 5.
It is. Why don't you give me 10 more minutes? How's that sound?
No, we ended at like 3:30 or something.
I know. She wants me to get off here, and I'm going to honor that, but I will take a few more questions. You like Palo Santo? You know, this is just me and my storyline. Please don't take it if it relates to you. But Palo Santo, it comes from wood, and I like trees. And I don't know. I just have a very interesting thing about wood. Most of the floors in my house are stone. I don't use a lot, the hardwood floors. There's not a lot of that in my home. That's not wood either, even though it looks it. So yeah, I just have this thing about that. I don't know what it is. I like trees. They're like living, empathic, powerful beings. And I don't like to use them in that way. So, I'm going to take a couple more questions, but I have to scroll through. I don't see anything. You got to go. Bye, Chris. Yeah, she is the mini-me, Michelle. Yeah, Hellcat, I just scroll through. The chat goes pretty fast, and I don't see very well. So I promise I'm not trying to ignore you, but I just scroll through, and because it goes so fast, I just land on whatever I land on. And I'll just scroll backward and forward until I can see something I can read. And the shorter, the better. Juan says, although we chose this and we are one, are there really reptilians running the show and trying to mess with people? Absolutely. But how much are you going to let that get to you? In some people's storyline, that's a storyline. And according to Dolores Cannon, when I channel her, there's 7 potential storylines running simultaneously in this timeline. So that is one storyline, and people who are afraid of it will be affected by it. So I teach you things not to become afraid of it, to become aware that there is a storyline like that, and you don't have to operate within it. Yeah, small wildflowers. She said Palo Santo trees are being diminished quickly. It's so true. So I don't feel good about using Palo Santo for that reason. What? For your child? Yeah, she can. Taps work really well with children. You can do them as a surrogate. Who let the dogs out? Is that seriously your question? I don't know. Donald Trump. Oh, touche. I cannot finish this Q&A with that. Somebody give me another question. I heard that the solar flash is going to happen from 2026 to 2032. Yeah, that's what Dolores told me as well. But there's like many versions of it. There's not just one. But in her storyline, yeah, that's a huge potentiality. Are storylines the same as dimensions? No. Storylines are beliefs that are created when thousands of people or more believe them at the same time. Then it becomes a reality. So careful what you believe in. How do I move to a more empowered storyline? Stop listening to the disempowered storylines. Turn it off and begin to create your loving, empowered narrative. Yeah. Don't I have to deal with entities and implants first? No. Do with your mind. If you do with your mind and your body, you do proper pratyahara practice. That's why I created Kripa Yoga, is for people who have implants and entities. When you work on yourself in that way and you commit to it, you will not be in any alignment towards entities or implants. Yep. Right. Can activating DNA hinder light entering the body? If you believe it can, absolutely. If you hold no beliefs of that sort, consciously or subconsciously, you're in the clear. Everything here is about your creative belief. And the more you wake up, the more you're aware of not just your conscious beliefs, but your subconscious beliefs. Because the subconscious beliefs in unawakened beings are running the show. Why do I operate in what seems to be many different scenarios at once? Oh, no, you don't. What's happening is you have, oh, thank you for the super chats. That's so awesome. You have, and not just you, Rochelle, but all of us have one dominant view through which everything is filtered. And we project that view and that storyline into the other different scenarios as a way to balance it out. So you're a bridge of consciousness if you're like that. You can see all the scenarios, but that doesn't mean you're operating in them. You can be in the world without being of it. You're in it to be helpful, but you're not actually of it. I know that was a bit of reading, but a lot of you are that way. So it can affect most of us who have that mission of being a bridge of consciousness. Are the yoga classes on Patreon? They are. They're in tier 2. All over tier 2. If you go there and use your search option to look up Kripa Yoga, you will find one for each month. And I've been doing them for about, I think 15 months now. No longer than that, almost 2 years. So tons of them are there. I love the fear management Kriyas. And the Kriyas for compassion is what's needed right now. Really calms me down. All right. So I will see you guys on... Oh my goodness, tomorrow for the Dragon Channeling. You can sign up for that on Patreon. What else? The Abraham Lincoln Channeling. That's going to be on August the 31st. And he's been really interesting to talk to because he's quiet and he doesn't say much to me. But when he does speak, his words are so powerful. They're like beautiful downloads of clearing energies. He's very, very kind, and he's very, very sacred. He speaks slowly. He speaks effectively. And the biggest thing that I've got from it is he has told me to slow down. When I'm thinking too much, doing too much, saying too much in particular during my teachings, he just walks up behind me and goes, it's really amazing. So since he's been working with me and teaching through me, I have felt much more practical and much clearer about how I speak and teach. So there's a lot of simple advice and practicality for how to cleanse and purify your minds and how to understand what's going on without the fear perspective. So he wants to talk about what's going on now and give you his perspective about it. I remember when I channeled JFK last month, I thought I couldn't do it because I just don't channel beings that aren't ascended typically. And I did, and I was surprised. So I thought, well, I'm going to try this one too. I really feel a connection with this founding father, of the United States. And when I did, I just realized how loving and brilliant he is. And I'm so thrilled to be doing that. So you can sign up for that if you feel like it. It's still on early bird special for like $11. But that early bird special ends here soon, here in a few days. So yeah, August the 31st. Yeah. What I mean by that, Crystal, when I say beings that aren't ascended, I don't typically channel, I channel like masters. I channel Yeshua, Lilith, Hillel, Mary Magdalene. I channel angelics, who normally haven't been embodied, with the exception of Hillel and Lilith, who have. Those are the type of beings I standardly channel, right? So I wasn't sure how I would do with channeling, particularly politicians. So it was amazing. Abraham Lincoln, no, he's deceased. Yeah, there's all kind of funny stuff. I don't know if you're asking me about JFK or Abraham Lincoln or both, but there's all sorts of fun theories out there in the conspirituality world. But those beings, I know the difference between dead and alive, at least in form. Okay? And you're not in form. It's a completely different story. Everything's alive, right? And things never really die from spiritual laws. But in terms of the body, JFK is deceased, and JFK Jr. is deceased, and all of his family is deceased. But there's a bunch of theories out there that they're not. And maybe in someone's storyline that will happen, but you can mark me on this. If you ever see someone coming up from the grave, it's pretty much the end of this world, because the world doesn't operate in that way. It just doesn't. It doesn't operate in that way. That would be the end of this particular time frame in this dimension, this density experiencing, if you see someone coming back from the dead. And this whole theory that they never died to begin with and it's their clone, that's QAnon stuff. Now, QAnon is a very interesting being that I don't want to get into today. It's kind of like the things that have come true from his crumbs are things that could have come true in this very general way, but the specific things he predicts, like the storm is upon us and the 3 days of darkness, where for 3 days we're going to lose our internet, or whatever he said. How many times has he changed that prediction? 11 times in 6 months. I'll tell you what, I just stopped listening. It never happens. And then all of his followers go, but it's going to happen one day. Yeah. Jesus could come back from the sky one day, but no one has seen it yet. Yeah, so that's conspirituality. You guys need to do your research on conspirituality and how it will seep into spirituality and try to take it over. But it will not calm your spirit. When you're following those conspiracy theories, it will not calm your spirit. The only thing it will do is activate your mind and give you more mysteries to figure out and make you not sleep at night. Tell you what, get rid of conspirituality. Stick to the truth and things that really can be proven, at least by your own heart, right? I know we can't prove everything with what we see, but I will not believe Q's predictions until they are very provable and until all of my guides will come through and say, yep, that's going to happen. And they never have. And because of you guys, I ask my guides about Q's predictions. Every single time he gets one, I go ask my guides. I try to see out of it. And every single time it's wrong. There have been only 3 predictions that came true, and they were general things that were going to happen anyway. So conspirituality will bring you down a path of fear that will be hard for you to get back up from. And then you will need more yoga than you've ever needed. You'll need more meditation than you've ever needed to clear that. And the followers of conspirituality are full of entities and implants and are, generally speaking, not grounded mentally. They need a lot more yoga, because that's what the beliefs have done to their minds and their bodies. It's not healthy. That whole, it's a fad. When spirituality becomes a fad. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not very popular on YouTube, because I will not follow a fad. It will not calm your spirit, and it is not truth. So I'll leave that there. And don't forget about my Abraham Lincoln channeling if you want some truth. That's coming up on August the 31st. If you want some truth in a loving way that gives you practical measures for what to do about it. That's what JFK offered as well. This is just a different peaceful perspective of that. And he's going to be talking a lot about what truth even is in a dualistic universe. And a lot about what is going on, things I can't talk about on YouTube without getting a little slap on the wrist and limiting my ads and all, deleting my videos, all that fun stuff. Oh, that's an interesting question. Did you ever reach a level that you reached when younger and now you're trying to get back your psychic power? Oh, Lord, no. I try to tame the psychic power so I can sleep at night. That's my general life. Because knowledge can be painful. Especially knowing things about your loved ones that you didn't ask to know, and then boom, there it is. It's painful. So, no, that didn't really happen for me. But when it happens for other people, that process, what normally is going on is that they gave up a portion of their power, and they begin to live life in a way that's not true to their own script. And when that happens, you lose connection with yourself. And when you lose connection with who you are, you lose connection with your abilities. So most people can draw that back into an experience where maybe they started a job that they felt they had to, to financially survive. Or maybe they got into a marriage that they shouldn't have. Or maybe they begin to give away their power too much in a relationship. it can all be drawn back to a certain time frame where you gave away your power. Hence, you lose some power when you give it away. Everything in this universe is an exchange. That's alchemy. And that's what I teach. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for the dragon channeling. And I hope I'll see you, all of you here today, and anybody who really wants to understand what's going on in our beautiful country in the United States right now and what to do about it from a peaceful perspective. Again, Abraham Lincoln, August 31st. It's on special for $11 right now. Okay. And about my next class with Jen Ward, it should be up on my website this week. It's called Be Your Own Spirit Guide. Yeah, exciting. Giving away all our secrets about tapping into yourselves. It's going to be so exciting. Tapping in. One of our guides laughed at me. She goes, pun intended. Oh man, the jokes never end with this crew. I love you guys. Thank you for showing up. I'll see you tomorrow.